Welcome to day 5 of the 2020 Olympics, or 2021, since it's been hosted in 2021. A lot of things happened today. There was actually so much on the agenda that we won't go through everything, but I'll go through quite a bit of what happened today. So it was an action-packed day full of surprises and outstanding performances. So let's start off in the swimming. And the 200-meter freestyle men, you had Thomas Dean that won for Great Britain, Duncan Scott that came second, also from Great Britain, and then Fernando Schaefer from Brazil that came third. Fantastic race, another very, very exciting day in the pool for all these guys. Backstroke women, we've got Kaylee McKeown from Australia. They came first with a new Olympic record, outstanding time to hold out Kylie Massey from Canada and Regan Smith from the United States of America. The backstroke was a second, with America coming in third, completely dominated by Russia, and the 100 meter backstroke men with Yevgeny Rylov and Clement Kolesnikov, who came first and second, with Ryan Murphy third. Now, the interesting one for me, having been born in South Africa, would be the 100 meter breaststroke for women. Absolutely outstanding race, but leading up to the race, Tatiana Schoenmaker had actually promised so much. She'd actually broken the Olympic record. She looked like the on-form athlete. She broke it in the first round. In the second round of the semifinals, she dominated the semifinals. She came at the best times. And in the final, she went off all guns blazing, as we kind of expected from her. But I just wonder if she didn't go out too fast too quickly, or too fast too early, because at the turn, she was comfortably ahead. But Lydia Jacobi from the United States of America, the young 17-year-old, put in a last-minute burst, maybe 25-meter burst of the last 50 meters, and pulled in Tatiana and actually overtook her. Now, Tatiana's time in one of the early round robin, one of the earlier phases, would have actually won for today, but she actually was about 0.4 of a second off her time from round 2. And slightly off her time from the semifinals. So Tatiana, I'm sure, is really, really happy to have a silver medal, and it's the first silver medal for South African women's swimming since 2000, since Penny Haynes. But it's actually nice to see that she actually did quite well, and that she got a silver. However, she will be upset that she could have gone quicker and she could have done a little bit better, I think. Maybe in herself, maybe being critical on herself. In third place was Lily King from America. So Tatiana was actually squashed between two Americans. Great race, very, very exciting. Now, the first surprise we're going to talk about actually came out later in the afternoon, where America actually had, within a space of a very small space, actually lost both the artistic gymnastics, which are favorites for, and then maybe not the softball title, but within a couple of minutes, they lost them both. So the artistic gymnastics team event, ROC beat USA, and they were expected to fight for that first place. USA were favorites to win it, but ROC, were expected to get a silver, but not too far America. We're expected to push America. However, America actually lost the event, and I think if they have to look at where they lost it, this probably was on the floor, where they scored 38.866, which was the lowest score of the day out of all the teams. So if there's one place that America can actually blame it on, it could be on the floor. However, if we're going to talk from a positive perspective, RSC won it due to their brilliant performances in the vault and uneven bars. Team GB did extremely well to finish third, just ahead of Italy, and there was also a slight unexpected result with Team GB finishing third, so they will be very happy with their results. As I said, there were 2 losses in a row within a couple of minutes of each other for the USA, where they were probably expected to get gold, where Japan actually beat the United States of America in softball. Japanese women defended their title, where they beat the USA last year. However, in the round-robin phase, the USA did beat Japan 2-1, so maybe they were slightly favorites coming into the final. For third place, Canada faced a lot of competition from a much-improved Mexico and beaten 3-2 for bronze. If you can remember correctly from the round-robin phase, Canada very easily dispatched Mexico. But this was luckily also for spectator perspective, it was a far more exciting bronze medal playoff. In the 5x5 basketball, Team USA, the women's side, beat Nigeria by 7 points. But at one stage, they had a sizable lead and then just did the minimum possible to stay in the lead. They didn't really go out and force themselves too much. At least they did better than the men, who got a surprising loss a couple of days ago in their first basketball match. Japan beat France, Spain beat Canada, and Serbia beat South Korea. But it's the first round of basketball, so there's very little to tell from the first round. We'll see a lot more as the tournament continues. The women's cross country was quite an interesting event where it was completely blanketed out by Switzerland. Switzerland took first, second, third. They completely dominated the event. It was actually quite nice to see how Yolanda Neff, Sina Frey, and Linda Indergaard from Switzerland took the first 3 spots for them. I think it's quite an interesting one to see from a small nation like Switzerland. However, they are known for their mountain biking and their cross-country mountain biking. So I think it was a pretty good event for them. The women's synchronized swimming final was very much a one-team event, with China winning with a 53-point margin over USA and a very excited Mexico, who just put Canada for 3rd place. Mexico and USA were extremely elated for their medals because in an event like diving, most countries are playing for silver and bronze. China is so superior to everybody else that most teams don't stand a chance. It puts also in perspective the men's result yesterday where Great Britain won. It's a big shock if China don't win the diving. In fencing, there were some interesting results in the team EP for women. Estonia, Korea Republic, and Italy first, second, and third. Italy beat China for their 3rd place. Women's last round of the football qualifications was a lot more exciting than what I expected. Special mentions need to be made to the Zambian team that lost their first match of the tournament, 8-3 to the Netherlands. They just got better and better as the tournament progressed. If you remember the first round, as I said, they lost in the first round 8-3 to the Netherlands, but they actually got better as the tournament went on, losing only drawing against China in a high-scoring game and then losing 1-0 to Brazil today, even though they were reduced to 10 very early in the game. And they lost the keeper, was kicked in the face in an early incident. So it was actually the same incident. So the keeper came out to get the ball. She was kicked in the face. At the same time, one of the Zambian players fouled one of the Brazilian players and gave away a free kick. And the first bit of action that the new keeper faced was a free kick, which Brazil scored. And that was the only goal of the game. Brazil tried to attack. They tried to do everything possible against Zambia, but Zambia just held them out. And actually, Zambia had their own opportunities. I think Brazil will be very disappointed. Yes, they didn't have most probably all their best players on the field, but you would expect Brazil easy to put away Zambia as one of the favorites for the tournament. Netherlands carried on progressing in a fantastic way by beating China 8-2. GB dominated their match against Canada, but battled to score. So Canada, a little bit against the run of play, scored in the 55th minute and then defended until the 85th minute when GB scored. GB had lots of opportunities to score, could have easily won by a lot more. I think they'll be a little bit concerned that they couldn't actually score with the amount of territory possession, the amount of time they had on the ball, and the amount of quality time they had on the ball. But it's a win. They still managed to get through, do well for the next rounds. Sweden continue to show that they're most probably the team to beat in the tournament, where they beat New Zealand 2-0 on their final game. And then we had USA drawing on Australia, and Japan beating Chile. Now, USA, I think, is a little bit disappointed with their tournament because most of these women are competed in the World Cup finals and won the World Cup. So you expect a lot more from them. However, Sweden is the team that stands out. Netherlands look pretty impressive. And who knows what's going to happen with Brazil coming back. They could come back, and the United States could come back and do exceptionally well. So anyway, the quarterfinals will be Great Britain against Australia, Sweden against Japan, Netherlands vs USA, and Canada vs Brazil. Rugby Sevens. Now, this is where most probably the story of the day came in the Rugby Sevens. There were some exciting things that happened before and that I've mentioned. However, the exciting part today, and as I said yesterday, Argentina made a surprise yesterday, but today they were full of surprises. They were incredible today. So they lost to New Zealand earlier on in the last stage of the round robin games, but they went up against, they lost to New Zealand yesterday in the round robin games. They won this morning, and then they took on South Africa, who were one of the favorites of the tournament in their quarterfinal match. and somehow they beat them. And how I say somehow, there's a lot that went actually against Argentina, and they still managed to win. So South Africa scored in the first minutes of the game. Look, the cards looked bad for Australia, looked like they were going to lose. Then shortly afterwards, maybe in the third minute of the game, just before the third minute of the game, they lost the talisman of the tournament and their game maker through a red card. And the game looked over for them. They were one player down, 3 minutes into the game, 7 points down, game was over. And against the run of play, South Africa was throwing the ball around, being very scrappy, knocking the ball on in the Argentinian half. Actually, it was in the Argentina last 20. And Moneta, the youngster, I think he's 22 years old, picked the ball up and ran pretty much the length of the field. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. He's leveled the score 7-7, and then South Africa made mistake after mistake and went into halftime 14-7 down due to another try by Moneta. In the second half, South Africa continued to make errors, continued to make mistakes, continued to panic. Things that would easily go South Africa's way didn't go their way. And Argentina scored again. Can you believe it? And they were 19-7 up. South Africa, right at the end of play, managed to get a penalty try. And through their penalty try, there was also another red card. So Argentina were down with 5. And South Africa needed to kick off, recycle the ball, and try and score again to stay in the game. But they kicked off and lost possession of the kickoff. A bit silly if they're sitting 7 players against 5. They should easily have been able to recycle that ball and score. So impressive to Argentina. Argentina held out and they believed all the way to the end. So let's see what happens in the next round. They will be playing against Fiji in the next round. Great Britain were lucky to win their match against the United States. USA started extremely well and went into halftime 21-7 up. They dominated nearly all facets of the game. However, a yellow card was given to USA's Steve Thomason, and that gave GB a chance, and that they took that chance. At the end of the game, there were a couple of decisions that maybe there were 50-50 decisions that went against USA. And, well, USA, Great Britain took advantage of it and scored. So USA have a little bit themselves to blame also, like South Africa do. At 21-7 at halftime, they should have been able to kill off the game. New Zealand and Fiji, I sound so negative, but they also didn't look fantastic in their in day 2. I mean, day 1, New Zealand especially looked really, really impressive. And in day 2, they put it this way: they did the minimum possible to win. They are 2 top teams in the league, and they did what they had to do to get through. Neither of them were really threatened at all. New Zealand actually struggled against Australia in the morning, winning 14-12. But they are the team to be, one of the teams to beat between them and Fiji. So I'd like to see what happens with Argentina against Fiji tomorrow and New Zealand against Team GB. But you would think New Zealand and Fiji will get through, but who knows what this Argentinian team is going to do. So another bit of a surprise, but it's been a surprise throughout each leg of the tournament, is the women's surfing, when Bianca Buitendijk from South Africa came up and actually beat some of the world's top athletes to make the final. In the final, she made her match and was quite easily beaten by Carissa Moore, with Amuro Tsuzuki, who won bronze. However, Bianca did exceptionally well because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the seedings of 17 in the world, and to finish second in a tournament like this was extremely good. But Carissa Moore pretty much dominated. She was exceptionally good and she deserved a gold medal. The 3x3, and so that was on that side there. And it was extremely exciting to watch what guys were doing and how well they were actually playing and stuff. So I thought the first part of the tournament was the first part of the Olympics that were extremely, extremely exciting. The next phase comes in with, I think, quite a nice event that actually happened was the women's triathlon. It was nice because Flora Duffy from Bermuda actually won it. Georgia Taylor finished not too far behind her, and Georgia Taylor just showed you what happens when you actually don't give up, because she got a puncture quite early, in the cycle, and she actually rode in a flat tire and actually was probably lost the distance between her and Flora through cycling through flat tire. But no, credit to Flora. Flora worked out well. Georgia Taylor Brown would have actually had to change a tire, which could have taken some time. So it was quite interesting to see the result from that one there. So that was really, really great. And Katie Zavaris from USA finished third. So it was a fantastic, fantastic day in the Olympics. A couple of other things that actually happened was there were some events in the foil that worked well, as I spoke about earlier. There were some other events that took place. There were some medals in weightlifting, taekwondo, but I didn't really watch any of those or follow any of those events live. Hopefully I can follow them a little bit more tomorrow, but there's actually so much on the plate, so it's very hard to follow everything. So I hope you enjoyed today, and yeah, we'll touch base tomorrow to see tomorrow's results.